Hello, my name is Elena Rocha. I did the horror film called Hunt, and I'll be talking about my creative and critical process creating the film. So, while filming my opening, I wanted gender and age to have a very prominent part in the film. Focusing on two teenage girls, I wanted them to be dressed in colors that would represent their personalities. One character wearing purple, which is meant to symbolize feminine strength, as she is the character that is confident and she led the other into the woods with that confidence. While the more reserved and pessimistic character is wearing all black to emphasize how mysterious she is and she has those pessimistic views. One film convention that I intentionally challenged was how the traditional way of dialogue was filmed. I chose not to film a traditional way to really show the girls are completely isolated, as the conventional way of filming dialogue facing the camera can make it seem as if the viewer was a third person in that conversation, and I did not want to have that effect. My thinking was the horror element being that you never know what is behind the girls and their back is turned to the camera as well, making them viewed as an easy target. I wanted to make the viewer have one of those like turn around, look behind you moments, and they get that horror element from that, which builds suspense throughout the opening as you never know what's behind the girls and you can see it from their point of view, what they are looking at, and you cannot see the threat behind them as they can't see it either. I also did this intentionally to hook the viewer and make them want to watch the rest of the movie as they never know what was the threat or what got them. With the audio in the beginning, I chose to have a lighthearted, innocent type of music playing, and then it transitioned to the dark, eerie theme, which also symbolized the change in the mood that was in the film as the characters noticed that there was something that was watching them and they didn't know what that was, which was their threat. I also took inspiration from the movie Pearl, as the opening scene establishes the shot and the surroundings as, a farm, and then it seems very lighthearted. There's country music playing, and then you get the transition to the dark, like, theme music and the suspense buildup, which is the horror element that I wanted to include and make sure that that was there. In the genre of horror, the role of woman is crucial. Iconic moments in slashers all link commonly to women, like the damsel in distress film archetype, where you think of the woman scream as she is killed, or the killer is chasing the girl with a knife, as in Friday the 13th. These are all examples of why female roles in horror are so important, because it's what resonates with the audience the most. I want my film to be distributed by Monkey Paw Productions. Monkey Paw focuses heavily on niche horrors that are very interesting topics that are not usually in the mainstream. I wanted it to be distributed in select theaters, making it a limited release, not a wide release. The reason why I would say not wide release is because it is a horror film and being filmed in April, I can assume it would release somewhere around the end of August and not October or September, because around Halloween and fall time, bigger production studios like Universal and Warner Brothers dominate the theaters with horror. So for my film to stand out, it would be best to have a limited release, so by the time Halloween comes around, it will already have gained popularity and people will be willing to rewatch, and with the gift of streaming, be able to buy the movie for themselves on its available platforms. I would market and advertise my film by premiering the first teaser trailer at Cannes Festival, as it is held in May, perfectly fitting the time my film is being produced and filmed. The Cannes is an invite-only festival, and it makes the audience very powerful. Many actors and famous directors attend this festival, and they post from social media about these films that they see and upcoming ones to look out for, which is a very good PR to get your film out there, and that is a really good way that it could get more of a bigger audience by these verified actors and directors. I made sure that my target audience was teenagers and young adults, but also it could include older audiences, as many films nowadays do relate heavily to younger audiences, but they are really missing out on the profit that they can gain from becoming a favorite movie of older generations by having that nostalgic. So I included the element at the end with the old iconic slasher type of the unknown killer just leaving mysteriously. The killer also does not have a face at the end, so you still are left on a cliffhanger, which makes the viewer wanting to watch more. But as the film is produced and written by a teenager myself, It is very relatable to younger audiences, but it still does have that nostalgic slasher feel, which will also include the older audiences. Developmental wise, my production skills developed immensely through this project. Before starting my production, I have never even heard of mise en scène, not diegetic and diegetic sounds, but after creating and producing my opening and other projects, I have learned and created first-hand examples of these elements. I developed my costuming skills and how the colors a character wears will connect to their character and part in the film. I learned how to frame shots so characters continuously enter right and exit left. I learned shot composition with different types of angles and following with the camera to create a scene. Most of all, I learned and practiced editing. Editing pulled the entire thing together. I learned how to overcome audio issues using tools, editing with software, and I used animations to make transitions smoother between scenes, and I was able to add sound effects and non-diegetic music to create horror effect. Using CapCut Pro was an excellent decision as I had many advanced features in editing through CapCut. It made my process very easy and beginner friendly. When I first started filming, I noticed compared to my previous projects, I had a much better experience due to the amount of planning that I did. I printed scripts for the actors participating and we collectively went over all the lines so we got comfortable with our characters and we were playing that we were also able to make tweaks and changes in advance to make the scene make better sense. The part I struggled with was in the middle of the film opening, as I had to find a way to include all the events I planned on happening in the short 2 minutes. Originally, I had around 30 minutes of footage and I needed to condense it into 2 minutes, which was very challenging. My original script was somewhat similar to the end product. As we got to the part to film, we stuck to the script for the most part, but we did make some on-spot changes that we thought would fit better for the horror film. Instead of being in the open, we chose to be by the water for our opening dialogue so the viewer can see what the characters are seeing as well. We ended up drafting some shots where the character in purple was walking along some trees and then you see a shot of them playing in the woods from the killer's point of view through the woods. But this shot did not come out right. The killer's point of view shot was too far back and it looked out of place, so we decided to scrap it. We also had more landscape shots as we wanted to establish the scene in the beginning, but we ended up not needing that footage. From making this film, I am leaving this class with many more making skills under my belt as I am now familiar with directing people and getting camera angles to turn my vision into an actual scene. The entire film project was shot on an iPhone 14 Pro. We edit on CapCut Pro and on the laptop. While filming, I was recording in cinematic mode so the quality auto-adjusted colors to be more visually aesthetic and higher quality. On CapCut, as stated before, I imported all my clips into CapCut, then placed them all in order of the film. I watched them through the 26 minutes of footage together and trimmed the clips. I was keeping any deleted and unnecessary clips that weren't working. That left me with a rough cut of my video together. I just needed to make it all fit smoothly as the sound in each clip was different. I had to adjust sound levels on each clip to match up. I had to add sound effects to cover up the outside noises, and I added fade in and out transitions to the beginning and ends of scenes. I learned that you should definitely get a microphone if you're recording dialogue outside and make sure everything is saved to not lose any progress. Now I'll show you some clips that were before we used the editing software to filter out some of the background noise and then how it looked after we did. There's a clear difference on what sounds better and how we cleaned it up really well to make the final film look great.
It's really not that bad. Yeah, I don't know, this place just freaks me out. There's stuff about people going missing in there. It's probably just a river. Yeah, but I feel like maybe we should head back now. Okay. It's really not that bad. Yeah, I don't know, this place just freaks me out. There's stuff about people going missing in there. It's probably just a river. Yeah, but I feel like maybe we should head back now.
So as stated, overall again, I did learn very much from making this project and I've learned so much about filmmaking in the process of it. I'll be leaving the class with understanding the film making concepts and I'll be able to make my own film creating with CapCut and other editing software. I look forward to making new projects in the future.